Well, good morning, everyone. It is lovely to see you this beautiful Monday morning. Thank you so much for joining us for daily devotions through Redeeming Life Fellowship. And today we're going to be in Mark chapter 14, verses 53 through 72. And I really wanted the main focus of this devotional to be focused on verses 53 through 65, which is Jesus's trial before the Sanhedrin. If you don't know what the Sanhedrin is, in a rough and ready way, you could call the Sanhedrin like the Jewish Supreme Court. So the highest Jewish court of Jesus's day. And so here, Jesus is being put on trial after he's been handed over betrayed from Judas to the Sanhedrin. And so here comes the point where basically the Jewish leaders of the day have the opportunity to indeed trying to use this opportunity to be able to try and bring charges against Jesus so that he can be worthy of death, that the evidence could be brought out that he's done something that's actually worthy of death. And they've been plotting this all along. And what's so fascinating about this particular passage is how, well, one, Jesus's ministry and his work, it's not like it's been something that's been concealed, that he's been doing something clandestine. The Jewish leaders and the people who have been following him and hearing his words and seeing his works have been transparent. Even though what's been kept secret up until this time is this messianic secret, this open acknowledgement about who it is that Jesus actually is. And what you see here happening is something that all of us have an inclination to do, where we're prisoners to our own confirmation bias. That is, we don't formulate theories in relation to facts, but rather we twist the facts in order to suit our theories. In the words, as it was said by Sherlock Holmes in the first Robert Downey Jr. installment, but I digress. So what's happening here is that when Jesus is brought to trial, the conclusion of the jury and the conclusion of the judges, the conclusion of the Pharisees and the Sadducees and all the religious parties is already that Jesus needs to die, and all they have to do is try and bring in the evidence, all the facts, and bring them on the table and arrange them and twist them in such a way as to be able to try and get Jesus to the point where he can be crucified. So let's just look at what's happening here. This is beginning in verse 53. It says, they took Jesus to the high priest, and all the chief priests, elders, and teachers of the law came together. Peter followed him at a distance, right into the courtyard of the high priest. There he sat with the guards and warmed himself at the fire. The chief priests and the whole Sanhedrin were looking for evidence against Jesus so that they could put him to death, but they did not find any. Many testified falsely against him, but their statements did not agree. Then some stood up and gave this false testimony against him. We heard him say, I will destroy this man-made temple, and in 3 days will build another, not made by man. Yet even then their testimony did not agree. Then the high priest stood up before them and asked Jesus, are you not going to answer? What is this testimony that these men are bringing against you? But Jesus remained silent and gave no answer. So even up to this point, he would not defend himself. Because, as we remember, in the predictions from the discipleship passage a few chapters before, that Jesus predicted 3 times that this is what's going to happen. Indeed, that it must happen. Verse 61, again, the high priest asked him, are you the Christ, the Son of the Blessed One? I am, said Jesus. And you will see the Son of Man sitting at the right hand of the Mighty One, and coming on the clouds of heaven. The high priest tore his clothes. Why do we need any more witnesses? He asked. You have heard the blasphemy. What do you think? They all condemned him as worthy of death. Then some began to spit at him. They blindfolded him, struck him with their fists, and said, Prophesy. And the guards took him and beat him. So we already know from the outset that the conclusion of the trial was something that was already set, and that they just had to be able to bring in the evidence to be able to suit the conclusion that they had already decided. So this is one classic example of how it is that even the judicious process can become corrupted in order to condemn people who they want to condemn. But here's the fascinating thing about this, is that one, this messianic secret that Jesus has kept hidden and not fully revealed, at this point, before all of the religious parties represented, is like this explosive reveal to be not just to say that he is the Christ, the Son of the Blessed One, but that you're going to see the Son of Man, referring to himself, at the right hand of the Mighty One, coming on the clouds of heaven. That he is going to be the one who's going to come. He's going to return and be the one who pronounces judgment on not just the people of God, but everybody, all of creation. That day is going to come. And at this point, with this grand explosive reveal that Jesus is bringing before all of the religious leaders, they all have a choice, one of two things: whether to admit that what Jesus said was actually true, or whether they're going to latch on to their preconceived ideas about who Jesus is and then condemn him to death. What Jesus said is blasphemy only if it's not true. But they've already decided that it wasn't true, and they would never actually look at the evidence that suits the facts of what it is that they already know. And so this is Jesus being condemned to death in a kangaroo court, which is shameful. It's disgusting. It should certainly warn us about the limitations of imperfect, sinful human beings who are still called upon to be able to conduct justice that's right in the sight of God. But that's not what this devotional is about. But I want to ask you this. Perhaps you're a person who's watching this, and you're not entirely sure if whether or not Jesus is who he said he was. And oftentimes, it's very easy to latch on to some erroneous idea about who Jesus is, whether it's because you don't like what it is that he has to say, that you don't think that that God could become a man, that this could be indeed God incarnate walking among us, that you would rather be dismissive about his words and his deeds, and never actually look at the evidence. So when you're looking and asking who Jesus is, you can say that he was a liar, you can say that he is a lunatic, or you can say that he is Lord. And here before the Sanhedrin, there was this opportunity in this grand reveal about who Jesus is that they could have bowed down and called him Lord. But they'd already decided that he was either he was a liar, or that Jesus could not possibly have been the person who he said he was. And then the choice that they had is the same choice that we have, that we can either dismiss, write Jesus off as a lunatic, as somebody who's not right in the mind, or we can condemn him to death as a liar, as a blasphemer, and say, good riddance, we're better off without you. Or we can bow before him as Lord and worship him because he was exactly who he said he was. And so That's our devotional for today. Thank you so much for joining us for Daily Devotions. If you haven't, do subscribe to the YouTube channel so you can get daily notifications to follow along with our reading plan. And I look forward to seeing you, doing life together with you. And I pray God will bless you and keep you, sustain you as only He can today, in Jesus' name. So take care.